Drake Baldwin is your National League Rookie of the Year. What do the Braves do with that extra draft pick? Let's talk about it. Yes, welcome on in to Braves Today for Tuesday, November 11th, your source for news, notes, and updates on your Atlanta Braves. I'm your host, Lindsay Crosby. You can follow me on social media at Crosby Baseball. You can follow the show on X, Braves_today. We have a Facebook page and Instagram as well. And you can find all my written work, bravestoday.com. That's the Braves Today Substack, as this is both a podcast and a newsletter. Quick plug for the newsletter real quick. We've had a fun series of guest articles from my friend Michael McDermott, who covers the Arizona Diamondbacks. He lives in Arizona, so he went to the Fall Stars game on Sunday. He talked to Nacho Alvarez, wrote that up. He talked to Pat Closey, wrote that up, and he's talked to Luke Sennard and wrote that up. So go check those out, bravestoday.com, for some AFL updates. They're from the desert, from Mesa, Arizona. We're probably part of the Believe Podcast Network. We're presented to you by FanDuel. What's really funny is the misery does not end for Atlanta sports. Atlanta Falcons are favored by 3.5 over the Panthers on Sunday at home. And I just have a really hard time believing that the Falcons are going to be able to win a game. They have one of the better defenses in football, and then Jonathan Taylor ran all over them when they were in Germany. So we'll see what happens. But either way, if you're ready to get started, it can be NFL, it can be NBA, college football, college basketball, whatever. FanDuel.com or download the FanDuel app today. I want to talk about Drake Baldwin winning Rookie of the Year. We had a chance to talk to him last night after he got done on TV, before he got on the conference call with the Baseball Writers Association of America. The team made him available to us for about 20 minutes. We actually had to wait on that. It's called an embargo. We had to wait to put that out until after he was done talking to the Baseball Writers Association, because it's their award that they give out. But really enjoyed that conversation. I want to bring you some comments and things that he said when talking to us about winning and about the season that was. And I want to talk about what's going to happen with this draft pick that they got, because I have two different trains of thought as to how the Braves are going to approach an additional draft pick inside the top 30. But I think the big thing first when we talk about Baldwin is he got 21 of the 30 votes for Rookie of the Year, for first place. The way that this works is the 15 National League cities, the BBWAA chapter in those cities nominates 2 people in each National League city to vote. So there's 30 voters. And they cast votes for first through 5th place for the award. Atlanta's 2 voters were Mark Bowman and David O'Brien, who obviously both cover the Braves. They both had Baldwin first and Horton second. As you can expect, both the Chicago writers, who covered the White Sox, had Horton number 1 and Baldwin number 2. It kind of goes like that. The Cincinnati writers were split. They had one of each. The Philly writers were split, one for each. The San Diego writers, both of them had Horton. The San Francisco writers, they were split. The Arizona writers were split. The Colorado writers were split, right? But at the end of the day, Baldwin wins it somewhat easily. The thing that I think is surprising to me is how kind of, I'm not going to say nonchalant that he was, but he really wasn't, he said he got nervous as they started getting on television, he got nervous. When we talked to him, he was actually at Spencer Schwellenbach's house. So apparently he was over there. He goes over there every Monday night. They watch Monday Night Football. It's not just the 2 of them. There's multiple people there. But so that's where he took the calls from and did all of that. And he said that it was surprisingly close to not happening, right? The quote here was, in essence, he expected to start the year in AAA. And then even when he made the opening day roster because of the injury to Sean Murphy, he didn't expect to stay in the majors that long. What he told us, quote, Even in spring training, talking with my agent, talking with people around me, I was probably going to AAA. Super content with that. Only had half a year with it in 2024. So even getting the opportunity to make the big league roster, and then obviously with Murph coming back, didn't know exactly how they were going to work around it there. Having Alex, and he's talking about Alex Anthopoulos here, having Alex be able to trust me and keep me on the team was a huge boost of some confidence there that he trusted me. And it's funny, he talked about he never really had that, like, he had that welcome to the majors moment, right? The very first game when he's in the big league park, but he never really had that, oh, I belong in the majors thing. It's not like he took some really good pitcher deep and was like, yeah, I'm a big leaguer. He said it just kind of gradually happened. He faced a Cy Young contender one day. And the quote here was like, you just start to realize you're facing some Cy Young contender or something, and you're like, oh, I'm going to have a good at-bat here. And then you start to get more familiar with catching Cy Young guys like Chris Sale. He did have a lot of praise for specific players, right? He talked about the difficulty of trying to manage a pitching staff and also acclimate offensively to the majors. Because the biggest step for any prospect is minors to the majors. Like, that is the largest leap in difficulty that you take. Going from high A to double A is probably the second hardest one you take, but triple A to the majors is by far the hardest difficulty you take. And he gave credit to the pitchers. He gave credit to both Sean Murphy and Sandy Leone. And then he specifically had some praise for Chris Sale. And he said that the trust that Chris Sale had in him really helped him feel comfortable and be willing to, I guess, kind of play a little more looser, right? Not be as on edge and as tight, and just kind of play with a comfort and a calmness and a confidence. Quote, the first start, and you might not even remember this, it's fine, I still remember it. It was a tough first inning, and we started using this changeup to get out of it. And he came in the dugout and was like, I like the changeup call. Great job using it. And I was just kind of trying some new stuff out. He said that and I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. And it definitely gave me some confidence there. So, like, he understood how big of a deal this was. Like, not very many catchers win Rookie of the Year. It's a very demanding position. And he did point out that, like, he has a ways to go still. Cal Raleigh played almost every single game last year. Like, he can do more, but he doesn't have specific goals as far as stats or anything for next season. He just wants to continue off-season training, working out, getting 1% better every day, the kind of common cliches that you hear, and just kind of letting it go from there. But the Braves now have some stuff to figure out. One, they already figured out they are doing a special day to commemorate Drake Baldwin. So Tuesday, March 31st, it's a home game against the Athletics. They're going to have a pregame ceremony. They're also giving away a bobblehead of Drake Baldwin winning the Jackie Robinson Rookie of the Year award. Those of you on YouTube, I have it on the screen right here. If you want to be at that ceremony, have a chance to get that bobblehead. Single game tickets for the 2026 slate go on sale this Friday, November 14th at noon Eastern. Braves.com/promos has all the info for what has been announced so far. They have more promos they have not yet announced, but this is one that they've already announced. So again, Braves.com/promos. Again, that actual game is Tuesday, March 31st, but you can buy single game tickets for whatever games you want in the season this Friday, November 14th at noon. In just a minute, let's talk about what Atlanta does going forward, because they got an extra draft pick and there's a decision they have to make. Let's talk about what this draft pick does for them with the bonus pool. And then let's talk about what they do going forward. We'll do that next, right here on Braves Today. But first, today's episode is brought to you by our friends at Encase Cards. Custom card manufacturer. This business plan is genius. You upload your source photos. Not school photos, sorry. Youth sports photos obviously makes a ton of sense. The point is, like, whatever photos it is, school photos, engagement photos, whatever it might be, you upload your photo and then you are creating your own custom card. You choose holographic options. Their designers help out with the background, all of the text and everything on it. They then print it on high quality cardstock. They slab it for you and they put it in a couple different, they have a lot of different colors of these plastic frames with built-in stands. So ncasecards.com, ncasecards.com, promo code BRAVES today gets you 20% off your order. That's ncasecards, ncasecards.com, promo code BRAVES today. Welcome back to Braves Today, Lindsay Crosby. Let's talk about what Drake Baldwin has done for winning Rookie of the Year. And let's be clear here. Baldwin gets more than just the trophy as well. He made league minimum last year, which is standard for every player in their first year in the majors. If he had not played a full season, he would have gotten a full year of service time for winning the award. Nick Kurtz of the Athletics, who won the award in the American League, he didn't have a full year of service time this season, but he now gets a full year because of winning the award. Also, in the pre-arbitration bonus pool, this is something every team contributes in. It was part of the last CBT. Every team contributes here, and players who are not yet into their arbitration years can receive bonus money. And it can be more than their salaries. You get, there's specified dollar amounts for some of these awards, including Cy Young, MVP, Rookie of the Year, runner-up on some of those, all MLB, first team, second team, all of that stuff. And then everybody else, it's distributed based on WAR. So Drake Baldwin, for winning Rookie of the Year, if we use the same amounts as last year, which they will, he's going to earn $750,000. So in essence, he just doubled his salary by winning Rookie of the Year. So shout out to Drake Baldwin for that. If you win MVP or Cy Young, you get $2.5 million. Like Paul Skeens might get an extra $2.5 million if he wins the National League Cy Young this year. That's just kind of how it works. You only get one bonus per year. Like, it's whatever highest amount you're eligible for. If Paul Skeens were to win MVP and Cy Young, he would only get one bonus. If he were to be a rookie and win Rookie of the Year and Cy Young, he'd only get one bonus, whichever one was bigger. In this case, Baldwin gets the Rookie of the Year bonus, $750,000. Shout out to him. The Braves get an additional draft pick. So the way the prospect promotion incentive works is they now get a draft pick after the first round. So they already had sixth best odds at the top pick, which translates roughly to the sixth overall pick in the draft. We don't know for a fact where they will pick until the winter meetings. It could be as high as first. It could be as low as 12th, honestly. But we can look at what happened last year to try and figure out what this is going to do to their draft pool. The combination of the extra pick and being so high in the draft. So last year, the Braves had 21 picks. Their standard 20 picks, plus a compensatory pick after the fourth round for Max Fried signing with the Yankees. Atlanta's first round pick was at number 22 overall. The slot value of that pick specifically was $3.98 million, and their overall pool was $9.08 million. It was the 8th smallest pool in the draft. By contrast, the Pittsburgh Pirates, they picked 6th in the draft. They also had 21 picks because they had a competitive balance pick. And that was a little earlier in the draft than that fourth round pick was that Atlanta got. But their bonus pool, remember, Atlanta's bonus pool was like just over $9 million. Pittsburgh's was $14 million. It's the 8th largest pool in the draft. So Atlanta, picking 22nd, had the 8th smallest. Pittsburgh, picking 6th, had the 8th largest. And it's really, the majority of that is because they're in the top 10. The first overall pick is like double-digit millions of dollars, but it quickly starts dropping in value. So the 6th overall pick last year that Pittsburgh had, and remember, that's where Atlanta, as of now, if you use the odds and everything goes chalk, that's where Atlanta is predicted to land. The 6th overall pick last year was worth just over $7.5 million. So Pittsburgh's first round pick by itself was 83% of the value of Atlanta's entire draft pool. What I'm saying is the Braves will have a lot more money to throw at draft picks next year. And I did some math. This is not a math podcast. I'm not going to go through it all. But in essence, I took Pittsburgh's pool last year. I took out their competitive balance pick, the extra pick they were given. I added in the value last year of pick 27. And then I adjusted everything because the slots for the picks increase in correlation with national MLB revenues. They grew almost 5% last year. If that continues, these picks will go up 5% in value. Atlanta's pool under this calculation, using last year's figures and the adjustment, is $17 million. $17.15 million. Again, last year, it was barely over 9. So Atlanta is almost double of the draft pool that they had last year. And if they end up picking higher than 6th, if they end up picking 4th or 3rd or 1st or whatever, they'll definitely be double what last year's draft pool was. And that's what really makes me wonder about the qualifying offer. Because I think right now you have 2 different paths you can take with the qualifying offer. The natural instinct is to say, because remember, the qualifying offer, if you did not go over the CBT, which the Braves did not, and you did not receive revenue sharing money, which the Braves did not, you lose your 2nd highest draft pick and $500,000 from your international bonus pool. If you had gone over the CBT, it's 2 draft picks, not just 1, and it's $1 million. So the penalty's lower for Atlanta. But now you're not losing a pick at like pick number 50 that has a slot value under $2 million. You're losing a pick in the top 30 with a slot value of over $3 million. And that's the hard thing I have to square here, okay? Because there is a difference in losing a pick in the 50s and losing $2 million and losing a pick inside the top 30 that is over $3 million. The difference in these 2 figures is like a pick in the late 60s, like pick number 67, 68, whatever. The Braves, like a lot of teams, and we haven't seen what they do at the top of the draft in a long time, but when they pick a little bit later like they do, the Braves, and a lot of teams do this, they like to underslot their first picks a little bit so they can grab an overslot player later. We saw the Braves do this last year, and they ended up getting, like, they took Tate Southesine at pick number 22. The slot value on that pick was just under $4 million. They paid him $2.6 to sign, and they took a bunch of that extra money, and they turned around and actually grabbed some guys. If you remember watching the recap show, some guys I asked for them to draft. I asked for them to draft Briggs McKenzie. They got him at pick 127, but he got the biggest bonus in the whole class. They paid him $3 million. They paid him mid-first round money in the 4th round. And then they went back and they got, Connor Essenberg in the 5th, slot value of $440,000. They paid him $1.2 million. Like, they were able to save money at the very top with Tate Southesine and Alex Lodis, their second round pick. They saved $200 and something thousand with him. Cody Miller, they saved $500,000 with him almost. And they were able to turn around and, from a money perspective, end up with the value of 2 first-round picks and like 2 second-round picks and 2 third-round picks. Like, they spread the money out and were able to get more players. Do you giving up $1.93 million for a qualifying offer player by giving up a pick at number 50, that's one thing. Do you give up $3.2 million to do that? Do you give up a pick inside the top 30 just to upgrade from a guy like a Lucas Giolito or a Chris Bassett to a guy like a Dylan Cease or a Michael King? Right? To upgrade from a Merrill Kelly to a Zach Gallen? Do you give up $3.2 million and a pick inside the top 30 to do it? I don't really know. And if you go back and you look in the last couple seasons, like guys picked at like 29 or 30, Cole Reagans of the Royals, he was picked by the Rangers, but catcher Bo Naylor, Anthony Volpe, Bobby Miller of the Dodgers, some top prospects, Xavier Isaac of the Rays, Johnny Farmello of the Mariners. If you drop back to pick 50, there's a lot less players recently who have made the majors from that spot. Evan Carter in 2020 is kind of the main exception there. And so the Braves have been very reluctant to pop a qualifying offer on a player. And there's 2 ways to think about this. Way one is this is an extra draft pick. You didn't have this 24 hours ago. So don't be attached to it and don't be afraid to give it up for a player. The flip side of this is you're giving up a pick in the top 30, and that's $3-something million, which is good money, just to turn around and sign a player to a long-term deal who may or may not end up being better than some of the non-qualifying offer guys on the market or somebody you find in the trade market. Like, in the short term, yes, the major leaguer is more valuable. But in the long term, is the guy you can get at pick number 30 more valuable to you, or the money you can use to get multiple players, is that more valuable than upgrading from a Chris Bassett to a Michael King? Upgrading from a Ha-Sung Kim to a Bo Bichette? That's what the Braves have to figure out. And I honestly have no clue what they're going to do. And it's incredibly fascinating to me. Because we don't know. We don't know, are the Braves going to be willing to pop a qualifying offer? Are they going, because to do that, unless they do it, they go after a reliever like Edwin Diaz, who will probably still be like $20 million a year, it's probably going to require them to come off of that $22 million Atlanta max that we talk about. Now, supposedly, they've been willing to do that before. The Freddie Freeman deal, had he taken it instead of choosing to go to LA, that would have been over $22 million. Aaron Nola, had Aaron Nola spurned Philly to come to Atlanta, that would have been for over $22 million. But they haven't actually signed a multi-year deal for more than $22 million. Does the qualifying offer penalty being harsher further convince them, hey, we're not going to pop a QO on one of these guys? Because again, instead of losing a draft pick that's worth like $1.9 million, we're losing a draft pick that's worth $3.2. They're losing a draft pick that is 1/3 of the entire draft pool from last year. And I genuinely don't know what they're going to do. Are they going to let Ronit Shaw cook and give him an extra pick and a bunch of money for the draft? Or are they going to let Jeremy Hefner have a guy like a Dylan Cease? I genuinely don't know, but I am insanely curious to find out. This has been Braves Today for Tuesday, November 11th. Do me a favor. If you're listening on audio, a 5-star review would be awesome. Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, leave a comment down below for the algorithm so we can show YouTube, we can show Believe, the podcast network, and everybody that Braves fans are here and showing up all winter. Until next time, this has been Braves Today.